All right, so what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, man. It's your boy, and with this check-in event right here, I had a lot of you guys hitting me up on Twitter, on Instagram, and in my comment section asking for my thoughts on who you should ideally be given the Ctp of Authority that we got yesterday, the Mega Mythic ticket that we're getting tomorrow, and the Ctp of Destruction that we're going to be getting the day following. So what I want to do for this one is talk to you guys a little bit about the value of these items and the characters that you should ideally be looking at when it comes to using these things, because CTPs are very rare. However, a Mega Mythic uniform ticket is even rarer, and the thing is, if you make a mistake with this item, there's no take backs, right? Whereas with the CTP, if you make a mistake, as long as you don't destroy it, and nobody in their right mind would destroy a CTP, right? You remove it from the character when you no longer want to use it on them, right? So that's not even a thought here, right? When you make a mistake with a CTP, you can easily pay 600 crystals to remove it from the character. Now, I say easy, but I know some of you guys are free to play, so 600 crystals is a whole lot. But what I'm saying is, right, if you make a mistake by putting a CTP on a bad character, the CTP is always going to be there for future, right? With a mythic ticket, you use it on a character, it's gone. It's basically destroyed. The value of it is no longer there, meaning if you use it on a bad character, on a bad uniform, right, it's lost to you forever, and you're gonna have to live with that regret. And what I wanted to talk to you guys about is the characters that you should ideally be using this thing on, if even at all. Because to be honest with you guys, in the duration of the time that I've been playing this game, I've only used, I think, maybe max 2 of these. And it's not for lack of having them, because this is not a flex now. I know some of you guys are going to say this is a flex, but it's not. It's not a lack of having them. It's just that there isn't really that many characters in the game that really require, listen to me now, I'll play with you in a sec. Anyways, that really require you to use this thing, right? You want to prioritize characters that are ultra rare, hard to attain, and they have uniforms that require you to spend over 900 bios. In addition to a lot of UUK, you always want to think about just how easy it is to acquire bios for these characters, right? In addition to the value of the uniform. So if it's a 1050 uniform, then it automatically makes the prerequisite for this ticket. But just because a uniform meets the prerequisite doesn't mean it is deserving of your Mega Mythic ticket. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop this because, yeah, I'll join you when I can. Anyways, what I'm trying to say here is, boys, you want to think carefully before you use this item, because it will be lost to you forever. Many of you guys are free to play, and because of that, you want to make sure that anytime that Marble gives you an amazing gift like this, you make the most of it. You invest it in a way where this uniform ticket will improve your gameplay experience for the months to follow. Okay, so that being said, we're going to jump into my roster, and I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple characters that meet the requirement for this item, but I'm not necessarily saying you should use it on them, simply because, like I said, I've only used like 2 of them in my entire time of playing this game. And I know a couple of you guys think I'm a super whale and I spend a lot of money on the game, and I do, but I do it just so I can bring you guys content at the pace that you guys want to see it, right? However, if you take a look at the things I'm saying right now in 2019, and you go back and take a look at the things I was saying in 2016, you'll notice even when I was free to play and barely spending any money on this game, I'm still saying the exact same things. Just because I'm using some more items in the game now doesn't ever mean I'm gonna just switch up on you guys and say, yo, blow your resources on this character just because I'm doing it. Half the time when I'm using these items, I'm telling you guys straight up, I don't think you should be doing this. I'm only doing it so you guys can see how they do when I do it. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, the characters that I have favorited here are the characters to consider for your Mega Mythic ticket, simply because their bios are extremely hard to attain. You have to spend money, and they could enhance your gameplay experience. However, of the characters that I currently have highlighted here, only 2 of them should you really be considering for your Mega Mythic ticket, and that is King Namor. And this is not because I'm playing favorite, it's just because Namor is a monster for all PvE content, and this uniform takes him to the next level where he can literally dominate every single world boss ultimate stage. And in addition to that, he now becomes accessible to you as a super villain for ABX if you care about that, and you can basically just walk to the cap of 3.5 million with him. Namor is a badass character, but he's premium, so if you drop this ticket on him, it's a wise investment because it's immediately going to take his uniform up to Mythic, which will save you like 30 bucks if you had to buy the selector for him twice. Just keep that in mind. Same goes for Luna Snow. Regardless of which uniform you have, ideally, if you have this one and it's still at like normal or advanced, I would say don't use it on this one. Just buy the new one on Black Friday and drop it on this one, because this is definitely a step up from the one she had previously, simply because of the fact that it gives her defense down on her forward skill, and overall this skill just does more damage and it's a lot safer, right? So this uniform definitely meets the prerequisite for one of those uniforms that you should consider for your mega mythic ticket. Definitely Luna Snow and Namor at the top of the game, and they will be here. I would say in a year from now they'll still be relevant. I cannot say the same for the characters that follow. Now next up, somebody you could consider, Nicolas Fury. You definitely could look at my guy Joseph. I'm saying my bad Nick, we ain't cool like that, partner. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna drop your middle like that. Anyways, you could definitely consider it if you're a die-hard fan of Nick Fury, but I still would not recommend this, just because half the time, not even half the time, 90% of the time that you're using Nick Fury, right, you're gonna be using him as a leader for his leadership and a support for his tier 2 passive. Most of you guys are not going to go out of your way to play with Nick Fury, so because of that, I would say using a mega mythic ticket on him is not a wise investment, even though he's a premium character. He's somebody to consider if you have a lot of love for him, and it would save you some money down the road, but ultimately I don't think you should do it. And that's why, even though I have Nick Fury, even though I love him, I use him for a lot of stuff, I still have his uniform at rare, and I'm probably going to cap out with it at heroic. I'm not going to push it to mythic, because even though he's good for PvE and he's great for PvP, right, overall, I don't see the value in putting this uniform at mythic, right? So just keep that in mind. Next up, somebody that you could consider if you're trying to get an immediate return on your investment is actually Monger. Not the character necessarily, but just the uniform. If you're short on CDPs, you could actually buy this uniform on Black Friday, drop the mega mythic ticket on him, even if you do not own the character, because he's a bad character in the current state of the game, right? Even if you don't have the character, you could buy the uniform, drop the mythic ticket on him, and from the Black Panther legendary battle, that will net you a Ctp of energy. However, that would also require you to buy the Black Panther legendary battle. So it's quite a bit that you have to invest if you're trying to get a Ctp of energy. Like I said previously, you do not need the character. Some of you guys may doubt me, but you can go back and watch my older video. I actually did that before I even owned the character. So it is something that you can do, unless Netmarble changed it recently. Next up is these two, Emma Frost and Sabretooth, characters that are very, very expensive. They cost a lot of crystals from the shop. They both have uniforms. However, even though they meet the requirement of being ultra rare characters that cost you a bit, you definitely do not want to be using your mega mythic ticket on these two, because in a year from now, I don't see them still being relevant. Honestly, these uniforms are not good enough. They're not doing enough for these characters. So even if you have a lot of love for both Victor and Emma, I would say do not drop it on them, even though they are ultra rare characters that ultimately would save you some money by getting the uniform to mythic. With the mythic ticket, you can get way more value out of that ticket by dropping it out on somebody like a Namor or Luna Snow. Lastly is White Fox, another character that costs crystals that a lot of us are really liking right now. Her uniform is pretty good, giving her entice on her one skill and making her a better support character overall because of her uniform bonus. A uniform that I myself plan to get to mythic because I like the character. I love how she looks, I love how she plays, and overall she's an amazing character that will still hold relevance a year from now. However, that relevance is going to come mainly from her tier 2 passive, so she falls into that category of being somebody like Nick Fury, somebody that 99% of you guys are going to be using, but only using as a support character. So getting her uniform to mythic isn't really doing much. if in the future Netmarble makes it so that, I don't know, getting a character is uniform to Mythic does more for your team, then sure, right? Sure, that would definitely be something to consider. But until then, I definitely don't think you guys should be in a rush to throw away your Mega Mythic ticket. Now, I know some of you guys are free to play, and you're immediately going to ask me about Sharon Rogers. She's free to play. Any character that you can attain from Shadowland Selector, they're immediately disregarded from this because, yes, you are saving time, and time is way more valuable than money. However, if you are free to play, time is all you have. That's it. Getting a Mythic uniform today is no different for you than getting it 2 days from now, 3 days from now, a week from now. If you get there, you get there. And when you get there, right, you will be fine. The only reason to rush a uniform to Mythic day one is simply because of the ranking event that we sometimes have that pay out crystals. Besides that, if you get it to Mythic like 2 months from now, there's no difference. There's really no difference. In addition to that, I know some of you guys are going to ask me, what about uniforms like Doctor Strange and other tier 2 natives? These uniforms cost Black Antimatter, Chaos Norm Stones, Phoenix Feathers, and M-Crown Crystals. You cannot use the Mega Mythic ticket on them. Doesn't work, okay? It only works for characters that consume biometrics to rank up their uniforms. Now, lastly, I want to talk to you guys about a couple characters that you should ideally be considering for your Ctp of Destruction and your Ctp of Authority. Now, keep in mind, like everything that I say on my channel, this is entirely subjective and based on how I approach this game. And I have a lot of value when it comes to CTPs. Now, I may not say it all the time because we only have one major PvP game mode that everybody can access and everybody sees value in playing, and that's Timeline Battle. But I really value the Ctp of Destruction. It's definitely an amazing CTP. Authority is good if you're trying to create a PvP tank, but I value the Ctp of Destruction quite highly. So I'm going to give you guys a couple characters that you definitely want to consider for your very first Ctp of Destruction. Even if it's not your first, if these characters that I'm going to list off to you, right, don't have a Ctp of Destruction and you care about PvP, you should consider them if they're not doing anything for you in PvE right now that you can live without. First and foremost, front and center is Captain Marvel. I cannot say it enough. Captain Marvel is, without a doubt, one of the best PvP characters in the game, and the Ctp of Destruction makes her even better. I know many people like to play her with a Ctp of Rage for ABX and World Boss, but personally, I've been playing her with a Ctp of Destruction ever since she got this uniform right here for her movie, and I've never turned back. I've never felt any other way but just like awesome when I'm using her with this. She bodies everything and everyone in PvP. The only person that really gives me any kind of trouble is Jean Grey, and Jean Grey gives everybody problems, but Captain Marvel can body her. The next character that you guys should definitely consider is actually my guy, Steven the Demon. Okay, if you're not using this guy for World Boss content, and honestly, even if you are, just look at my Doctor Strange. I haven't had a freaking CTP or any custom gear on this guy in like, guys, you're going to have to remind me. I'm getting old here. Months. Definitely 2 or 3 months at this point. And he still clears 50 plus in World Boss against everybody except Thanos. Like, that includes Call Obsidian. No CTP. So if you want to, you could very easily put Destruction on him. And with your raid level high enough, with your setup good enough, he'll be able to clear very high stages in World Boss and still do really, really good in Timeline Battle. The reason why you want to consider the Ctp of Destruction for Doctor Strange is because he's one of the very few tier 2 natives, or rather tier 3 characters that don't have any type of penetration. And that means when you're attacking in timeline and they throw up invincibility or damage immunity, he can't penetrate that, but the Ctp of Destruction will change that for you. So keep that in mind. Next character you want to keep in mind is actually Thanos. Now, Thanos is kind of the same deal with Doctor Strange. You can see for yourself. Don't have a CTP on him. Haven't had one in months because I've been throwing around my CTPs all over the place, testing out characters for you guys. And he's been bodying everything that I throw at him in World Boss and so on, right? Still use him in PvP. I get guard broken quite a bit, so that's why I'm going to recommend the Ctp of Destruction for him here. In addition to that, boys, he doesn't have penetration on anything besides his tier 3. So when you run into characters that have immunity and invincibility like most PvP characters do, right, he will struggle to get rid of them if you don't give him a Ctp of Destruction. But once you get off the tier 3, they're donezo, right? So just keep that in mind. Next character to consider is actually, where is my guy? Right here, the Silver Savage himself, okay? Have one on him, never look back. This, in my opinion, is the best CTP for him. It allows you to do PvE and PvP at the highest possible level. I've tested him with multiple CTPs. Many people would tell you go with regen. I'm gonna say go with destruction. Kill your foes before they have a chance to retaliate. The Silver Savage takes no prisoners. Anyways, next character you want to look at, last one here. It wouldn't be me if I didn't put my guy on the list. Where you at, Wade? Yeah. We're going to have to put my guy Deadpool there, even though he's kind of falling off, you know what I'm saying? He's struggling, holding on for dear life at the top of the speed class. The hot dog eating savage running up on him. But yeah, man, Ctp of Destruction, if you're trying to do PvP with Wade, he will come through for you. But for me, I'm a PvE kind of guy, so I slapped on energy, never looked back. Okay, now Authority. Authority is a smaller list, right? Because honestly, I think the best like defensive CTP is regen, and we're not getting that, but we're getting Authority, which is still pretty good. The top 2 characters for you to consider here is actually Thanos, right? Just to make him a super ultra mega tank, because in addition to the healing, right, he has invincibility and damage immunity and iframes. So giving him a CTP of Authority, which offers, let me just show you guys the stats, right? Just in case you guys never seen one before for some reason, right? It gives him immunity to Garbage, which you need, plus it gives him invincibility, and that's just gonna stack on top of everything that he already has, and he's just gonna be mental, right? You're just gonna be lacking the penetration, but once you survive long enough, which he will survive because he's a super tank already, and you're adding more survivability onto him, right? He's just going to be able to melt everything with his tier 3. He can probably like kill them, and then the tier 3 is still going to be running. They're going to spawn in with their next character and die. Like, yeah, Thanos is no joke, right? And you can also consider Doctor Strange for a CTP of Authority. Again, because he has healing, he has iframe, he has damage immunity. He'll survive because he's reflecting damage back in their face, right? But again, you're going to run into that problem where you might not have any penetration, so they're staying alive a little bit too long, and they could possibly kill you. Right, so that's something for you to keep in mind. Last 2 characters for you to consider here is actually, where's my guy? I was really hoping for a tier 3 for you sometime, but maybe next year. My guy, as you can see, man, Dr. Doom, amazing PvE character, but he puts in work in PvP, and that's where I've kept him for the last couple months with a CTP of Authority. This is probably close to the highest amount of crit damage and stuff you can get on it, but we could get the invincibility up a little bit more. But this guy's actually pretty tanky because of the healing and the revive. He has invincibility, right? So overall, an amazing PvP character. Stacking more survivability onto him is just a nightmare because he's gonna revive and he's just gonna always be healing. So yeah, Authority is very good for him. And lastly is actually Strife. Strife is actually really good with Authority, but I actually have, okay, I want to say, I thought the max HP disappeared because it was like looking mad small with the text there. Anyways, I actually have regen on him because like I said previously, I think regen is probably the top tier, like best defensive CTP. But if you don't have one of these, you can give him Authority, and that's going to bump up his survivability because he already has invincibility in his kit. He has iframes as well, and Strife is like the timeline devil for a reason. Like, he's an amazing character. So yeah, giving him more survivability is very good. He's great for PvE, but I find his place to be PvP. Boys, we're going to wrap it up right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry for rambling a little bit, but I wanted to give y'all my thought process, you know, how I value items in this game. Anyways, boys, thank y'all so much for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, hit that dislike button 2 times for me. And if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because this is what we do, and we do it daily. I'm gone. Peace.